The Storm Prediction Center has increased the risk for very large hail in a good part of Texas for tomorrow in some of the major cities like Dallas, back into Houston, as well as into the San Antonio and Austin region. And it's only the beginning stages of what could be a multi day severe weather threat across the South. So I appreciate all my subscribers out there. If you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily content on this channel. And I would love to reach 250,000 subscribers by the end of April. And you can help me get there by subscribing to the channel and following all my daily breakdowns. So let's take a look at the setup because we are going to be watching a warm front as we get into the afternoon time frame. And as this lifts northbound, that is going to increase their tornado threat tomorrow. So right now, they do have an elevated risk for tornadoes as we head into the 4 o'clock into the evening time frame, likely southeast of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back into the Houston area, into San Antonio, which includes Austin as well, back into the Shreveport region. But even further north, as we get into the overnight hours, that tornado threat can increase as that warm front will continue to lift northbound and likely be in this vicinity as we get into later Monday night. So as we take a look, before that, of course, we got the big solar eclipse coming up, and this is another dynamic system that's going to be coming in. And so timing is everything with the weather. With this new system, that is going to bring a southwest wind, and typically southwest winds bring some high clouds, and as the warm front lifts north, it's going to bring that low level cloud base. But we're all concerned about just that short window of what the visibility is going to be for your solar eclipse. And right now, if we expand the view and take a look at the overall latest guidance on some of the high resolution models as we get closer to this event tomorrow, it's starting to favor a little bit higher certainty of possible peaks of sun further north. But further south, if you live down there in South Texas, right where that you're going to be having the most totality, unfortunately you're going to have the highest probability of likely under that cloud deck. But as you lift further north, you're going to have possibly some peaks of sun, maybe towards the noon time frame, that 1 o'clock time frame, especially the further north you go into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, towards possibly the Red River into northeast Texas. But as you can see, as you swing further north from there, back into Arkansas, through areas of southern portions of Illinois, as well as Indiana, you only have about a 20 or 30% probability of seeing some clouds. So at least you're going to see some peaks. It won't be perfect like it will likely be up there in Maine, where you're going to have likely sunny skies and have that perfect viewing of that totality. But more concerning is what happens after that. So yes, the solar eclipse is essentially between that noon and 3 o'clock time frame, mainly those 3 or 4 minutes there, right around 1:30 to 1:45. But after that, as we head into 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Monday, all eyes are going to be down there in Texas, where we're likely going to be seeing supercell thunderstorms. So by the time we go into that 7 o'clock time frame on the latest high resolution guidance, you can see supercell thunderstorms are starting to fire right along that warm front, and all these could be capable of producing some larger hail in the variety of that 2-inch or greater potential all along this warm front southeast of the Metroplex. And this would extend further north as we get deeper into the evening time frame in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then possibly we have another convective complex northwest of the Metroplex into West Texas. Those could also be some big time hail producers, as all this likely starts to fill in and gets a little bit more widespread as we head deeper into the evening, because it's got a lot of convective capability of energy to tap into. Some of these areas have seen some of the highest energy that we've seen so far this spring season. And with that warm front lifting north, that likely puts this whole area under the gun. And that's exactly why the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted that slight risk in this whole area of Texas as we head into tomorrow. And this will likely actually be upgraded to an enhanced by tomorrow afternoon. And as we get into the overnight hours on Monday. I will be doing live coverage, likely starting around 4 o'clock on this particular event. So definitely stay tuned for that. But as we get into the evening hours, some of the high resolution guidance continues to expand some of those supercells as we get deeper into North Texas and to possibly Northwest Texas. It doesn't have much convectivity right now, but we are still about a day and a half away from this particular event. But if you don't see anything on Monday night, you're definitely going to see something possibly on Tuesday, because the main system is still out west, folks. The more concerning is just the slow moving nature of this very intense upper level low, and it's going to send short waves out ahead of it. So you have pieces of energy that pull out ahead of it, and that prime time setup of that warm sector with those very high dew points for this time of year, and also a lot of water content, folks. I mean, this is elevated levels. I mean, some of these areas are approaching 2 inch per hour within this zone. So this got plenty of moisture to tap into. That's why it's a concern for all three modes of severe storms down there in Texas for Monday and Tuesday in northern southern portions of Oklahoma. And this leads to yet another severe threat as we get deeper into the day on Tuesday. So we might actually get a little bit of a lull, but I think it fires back up again around that same time frame after 4 o'clock into the evening hours, as this main system will be traversing across would also have an increased elevated hail threat. Some of those could be some of those very large hail threat, 2 inches or greater capability within the Dallas-Fort Worth area, into San Antonio, into Austin, Waco, those areas into the Houston Metroplex. And then that would shift into East Texas into the evening hours on Tuesday with very heavy rain potentially as well, because here's the latest setup on some of the latest surface guidance. You can see these convective complex with this slow moving nature of storm complex that will be traversing across Texas as well as into Louisiana, feeding back into Arkansas and getting into those areas into the southeast, which would include Tennessee by then, and back into portions of northern portions of Mississippi and Alabama. And there's just going to be waves of convective complex. So you're going to have the first wave that starts Monday after 4 o'clock through the midnight time frame. There could be a little bit of a lull, and then you have yet a second wave that will come in from the west and propagate through Texas, and eventually start heading into East Texas, getting into Arkansas, especially Louisiana. And with this slow moving nature of this rain event as well, would likely go into a severe threat Monday and Tuesday, all transfers into a heavy rain for threat, as all that energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere will ring out that 2 inch per hour precipitation rain rates. That leads to a flash flooding concern. There's those areas that have that green shaded area would likely see 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. And then as you get into these yellow shaded areas, likely get 2 to 4 inches in portions of North Texas and East Texas. But once you get into the red area, that's where you could see definitely some 3 to 6 inch totals, maybe even higher than that, in areas of Arkansas and the northern portions of Louisiana, as well as into far eastern portions of Texas. And it's just that convective complex will continue to move across the state. Very slow moving nature. This actually at one form could form up an MCS and create a damaging wind as those winds start to bow out, and as it dives east and southeastbound, that could produce a leading edge of significant wind gust ahead of the system. Yes, and that, of course, that threat just goes into the southeast as we head into your Wednesday. So for those areas into East Texas, by then we'll be under the gun, back into Louisiana, southern portions of Arkansas, into Mississippi, back into Alabama, and it would include the Florida Panhandle. And this will actually likely be expanded a little bit further north as this threat gets closer, and also would likely be upgraded to at least an enhanced risk by the time we get towards Wednesday. Because you can see what we're talking about here, folks. I mean, this is where the low pressure is highlighted over North Texas, and that is Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, this is a long duration event that basically starts just right after the solar eclipse back into the Dallas-Worth area, much of Texas there, and then goes into, Monday, Tuesday, and then that's where it is by Wednesday afternoon as it finally shifts further east. But it's also going to spread that very heavy rain and then likely increased severe threat for the southeast. And this would likely feed up northbound into Tennessee, portions of Kentucky, which actually maybe even include portions of Indiana by then, at least on a marginal risk side. And then as we head into Thursday, again, that low pressure actually starts to even deepen and actually intensifies even more, highlighted over portions of Indiana by then, pushing that squall line, that convective complex, yes, up the eastern seaboard. I mean, you've just been crushed with basically every little system that comes through, and it all ends up along the East Coast. And you just get the heavy rains like you've been seeing all for a long time, folks. And yet, this is another system that will likely come up the eastern seaboard. But here's the breakdown. I like this. Look on the latest CSU. That's your basically your learning model guidance and the SIPS guidance, as well as the SBC. So this is your Wednesday outlook from the Storm Prediction Center compared to the learning model, compared to the SIPS guidance. So you can see the expansion potential of where this could likely be as we head towards Wednesday. And then there's the expansion on Thursday as this continues to push off to the east, would likely include those areas into the eastern seaboard, into the Carolinas, portions of Virginia as well, with that lighter severe threat as this low pressure center. Yeah, that's a 988 millibar low pressure, folks. So this is a big storm. This is going to be all starting coming in tomorrow after the eclipse. It's going to race across Texas and portions of Oklahoma, right, then move across the southeast, and then it's not and really until Thursday afternoon. It could be somewhere in the vicinity of Ohio, spreading that heavier rains, and then that convective complex comes up the southeast and parts of Florida again, and then up the eastern seaboard, bringing that heavier rain. So again, that green area would likely see 1 to 2 inches of rainfall as we head into your Thursday. That would be Thursday, April the 11th. All those areas in green, but once you get into that yellow zone, yes, that's again another area, potentially 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, portions of Virginia, back into possibly the DC region, into Pennsylvania, into New Jersey, up there into Massachusetts and Connecticut, even possibly Rhode Island again, just gets crashed with more just heavy rain as that system will finally start to wind down. But it's not really until Friday. It's still ringing out its precipitation as the low will start to weaken. It's still going to leave another swath of possibly another inch of rainfall for those areas across the upper Great Lakes and to good part of the Northeast into New England by then. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure you're subscribed to the channel and also click notifications so you'll get notified when I do my daily updates, and also when I go live on Monday and likely will be Tuesday. It's going to be a long week ahead. I'll plan on coming back tomorrow with another update, and then we'll go live about 4 o'clock on Monday. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch me next update while I protect you before and after the storm.